Stop talking, start doing. Take action now. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, Musonius Rufus. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Welcome back to Stoic in Your Life. Today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful principles of self-growth. Stop talking, start doing, take action now. This isn't just about planning for the future or thinking about what you could be. This is about turning those thoughts into real, tangible action. The Stoics, from Epictetus to Marcus Aurelius, understood that wisdom is only meaningful when it's applied. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of overthinking, waiting for the perfect moment, or endlessly discussing plans, but none of that will bring true change. What really matters is what you do. If you've been feeling stuck, waiting for the right time to start, today's the day to break free from that inaction. Whether it's improving your relationships, advancing in your career, or working on personal goals, the time to start is now. As Seneca wisely said, "While we wait for life, life passes." The Stoics remind us that time is fleeting, and we must make the most of it by living in accordance with our values and taking consistent action toward our goals. So, are you ready to move beyond words and begin making real progress in your life? Let's get started. Lesson 1. Stoic Style. It's about inner substance. Too often, especially in modern society, we place tremendous value on how we appear to others. We get caught up in superficial markers of success, how we dress, the kind of car we drive, or the status we portray online. But the Stoics teach us something profoundly different. It's not about the image you project to the world, but the person you are when no one is watching. True strength, beauty, and success come from within, from the virtues you cultivate and the principles you live by. Musonius Rufus once said, "For philosophy doesn't consist in outward display, but in taking heed to what is needed and being mindful of it." The Stoic idea of style isn't about fashion, it's about character. It's about building a foundation that withstands the test of time, regardless of how the world changes around you. This idea may seem countercultural in today's world, where social media highlights appearances and status symbols, but for men aged 30 to 65, this is where the real value lies. The trappings of wealth and success may come and go, but who you are as a person, how you treat others, how you handle adversity, and how you stay true to your principles will define you more than any material possession ever could. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This call to action is not about proving yourself to others, but about holding yourself accountable to your own values. To live with inner substance, you must first know yourself. The Stoics emphasize self-awareness as the bedrock of all personal development. Socrates' timeless advice, "Know thyself," resonates with anyone looking to live authentically. Ask yourself, what are my core values? Am I living in a way that reflects those values, or am I distracted by external validation? Without this inner clarity, you risk being swept away by the opinions and expectations of others. The Stoics challenge you to focus not on impressing the world, but on embodying the virtues that matter most to you. Whether it's honesty, courage, integrity, or patience, these are the qualities that should define your life, not what others think of you. In modern life, this idea becomes even more critical. Society constantly pressures us to perform, to succeed by certain standards, and to chase after material wealth as a measure of our worth. But true success, according to the Stoics, is living in accordance with your values. He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have, said Socrates. It's not about accumulating more, but about being satisfied with who you are and the life you're living. For men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, this lesson becomes more relevant as we navigate the pressures of career, family, and societal expectations. At the end of the day, the question isn't how much you've achieved in the eyes of the world, but whether you've lived in a way that aligns with your values. Living a life of substance means making your actions speak louder than words. It's easy to talk about what you value, but the real measure of your character comes from how you act. As Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." The Stoics knew that actions speak far more loudly than grand speeches or public declarations. Your real character is revealed in those quiet moments when no one is looking, when you choose to do the right thing, not because it's expected or rewarded, but because it aligns with who you are. In today's world, it's tempting to seek recognition for every action, to post every good deed on social media for validation. But the Stoic approach is much more profound. It teaches us to do what is right, because it is right, not because we seek applause or external approval. The wisdom of the Stoics extends into how we deal with adversity and challenges. In a world where people often measure success by how much they can accumulate, or how perfect their lives appear, the Stoics remind us that true success is measured by how we handle difficulty. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men of his time, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is one of the most important lessons for any man. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. By focusing on your internal values, you free yourself from being a victim of circumstance. The external world may throw challenges your way, but if you've built a foundation of inner substance, you'll have the strength to weather any storm. Lesson 2. The Path to Becoming, a Stoic Guide to Purposeful Living. The Stoics believed that the journey to self-improvement and fulfillment doesn't start with external circumstances. It begins with an internal decision, a clear vision of the person you want to be and the relentless pursuit of becoming that person. It's easy to get lost in the busyness of modern life, with distractions constantly pulling you away from your true path. But purposeful living requires you to be fully aware of who you are and where you want to go. In a world full of noise, the ability to stop, reflect, and take deliberate action is one of the most valuable skills you can cultivate. The Stoics understood this centuries ago, and their wisdom is more relevant today than ever before. Think about it. How often do you find yourself caught up in day-to-day tasks, forgetting the bigger picture of your life? Are you living according to your values, or are you simply reacting to the circumstances around you? These are the types of questions the Stoics ask themselves regularly. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, famously wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This statement cuts straight to the core of what it means to live with intention. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or endlessly debating what you should do. It's about taking action every single day that moves you closer to the person you want to become. The world doesn't need more people talking about what they plan to do. It needs more people actually doing it. In modern life, we are bombarded with information, choices, and obligations. It can feel overwhelming to know where to start or what the right path is. But here's the thing. The Stoics teach us that you are in control of how you respond to life. You may not be able to control what happens around you, but you absolutely have control over how you react to it. This is the essence of purposeful living. It's about being the captain of your own ship, steering your life according to your values and your goals, not letting external forces push you off course. Consider this. When you wake up each morning, do you have a clear sense of purpose, or do you let the day control you? Are you setting your own agenda, or are you simply reacting to what comes your way? The difference between living with intention and drifting through life is profound, and it all starts with understanding what truly matters to you. A great example of this in modern life can be seen in how people approach their careers. Many people spend years in jobs they don't enjoy because they think it's what they're supposed to do, or because they've never taken the time to reflect on what they actually want. But then there are those who wake up one day and decide to make a change. They quit the job that's draining them, they pursue a passion that excites them, and they begin to live life on their own terms. This is a perfect illustration of what the Stoics teach us about purposeful living. It's never too late to take control and start living intentionally. The choice to live a meaningful life is yours to make, and it can begin at any moment. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So, what's stopping you from making that change right now? Purposeful living also involves embracing the challenges that come your way. The Stoics believed that adversity was not something to be feared, but something to be embraced, because it's through struggle that we grow and become stronger. Musonius Rufus said, "There is no better way to improve yourself than to face difficulties with courage and perseverance." This mindset is critical in today's fast-paced world, where so many people shy away from challenges, seeking comfort and ease. But comfort doesn't lead to growth. Think about a time in your life when you faced a difficult situation. Did it ultimately make you stronger, more resilient, more capable? If you reflect honestly, you'll likely realize that your most significant periods of growth came not from moments of comfort, but from moments of challenge. The Stoics teach us to welcome these challenges because they are opportunities for self-improvement and personal growth. So what does this mean for you? It means that in your daily life, you should be constantly asking yourself whether you are living intentionally. Are you focused on becoming the best version of yourself? Or are you getting lost in distractions? One of the greatest pieces of advice from the Stoics is to simplify your life. As Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." If you find yourself constantly overwhelmed, stressed, or dissatisfied, it may be because you are spending too much time on things that don't matter. Purposeful living is about cutting out the noise and focusing on what's truly important to you. This might mean saying no to certain commitments, changing your habits, or even shifting your career path. But the most important thing is that you take control and make these decisions consciously, instead of letting life happen to you. And here's where I want you to reflect. What is one area of your life where you've been coasting, rather than living intentionally? Take a moment to really think about it. Maybe it's your health, your relationships, or your career. Maybe it's the way you spend your free time. Whatever it is, ask yourself, are you taking deliberate actions that align with your values and your long-term goals, or are you just going through the motions? The Stoics teach us that life is too short to be lived passively. Every day is an opportunity to become a little bit better, to move a little closer to the person you want to be. The lesson is clear. The path to becoming is not some distant goal or unreachable ideal. It's something you live every single day, in the small choices you make, in the way you respond to challenges, and in the clarity of your purpose. As you go about your day today, I challenge you to think deeply about the path you're on. Are you living intentionally, or are you allowing life to dictate your actions? Remember, the Stoics teach us that you have the power to choose. You have the power to take control, to stop talking, and to start doing. The question is, will you take that power and use it? It's time to stop waiting, stop planning, and start acting. Lesson 3. Stoic Actions. Deeds speak louder than words. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. It's a simple yet powerful reminder that talking about who you want to be or what you believe is meaningless without action. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Musonius Rufus, were all about living their principles rather than just discussing them. You can spend hours talking about your goals, values, and virtues, but until you take action, none of it truly matters. So let me ask you, are you living your philosophy, or are you just talking about it? The Stoic philosophy revolves around the idea that wisdom is only useful if it's applied in everyday life. They believed that how you conduct yourself in your daily life is the ultimate measure of your character, not the grand plans you make or the eloquent speeches you give. Actions, no matter how small, always speak louder than words. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the culture of self-promotion, where people post about their accomplishments, opinions, and beliefs, seeking validation through likes and shares. But the Stoics would remind us that none of these things matter unless you're truly living in accordance with your values. Think about it. What good is it to post motivational quotes on social media if you're not practicing what those quotes preach in real life? If you want to be a person of integrity, courage, and discipline, you have to show it in your actions, not just say it. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. B1. This is a call to all of us to stop just talking about our principles and start living them every day, especially in the small, mundane moments when no one is watching. It's easy to make excuses for why you're not taking action. You might say you're waiting for the right time, or that you'll start tomorrow. But as Seneca wisely said, while we wait for life, life passes. If you're waiting for the perfect moment to act, you might be waiting forever. The Stoics knew that life is short and unpredictable, and the only thing you truly have control over is the present moment. So why not take action now? What's stopping you? The truth is, every day you delay is a day you could have spent making progress toward your goals, building your character, and becoming the person you want to be. It's time to stop making excuses and start taking small steps that align with your values. One of the most common barriers to action is the fear of failure or imperfection. But the Stoics taught that failure is not something to be feared, it's an opportunity for growth. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is an incredibly empowering mindset. You can't always control the outcome of your efforts, but you can control how you handle setbacks. Instead of being paralyzed by fear or waiting until you have everything figured out, the Stoics encourage you to take action, learn from your mistakes, and keep moving forward. After all, it's through action that you gain experience, wisdom, and resilience. Ask yourself, how do I respond when things don't go as planned? Do I let failure stop me, or do I use it as fuel to improve? Another key aspect of Stoic action is the idea of leading by example. It's not enough to talk about being a good person. You have to demonstrate it through your actions, especially in difficult situations. Musonius Rufus, a lesser-known but highly influential Stoic, emphasized that virtue is shown in how we behave toward others. Whether it's being kind in the face of rudeness, staying calm in the midst of chaos, or helping others without expecting anything in return, your actions will speak volumes about who you are. Think about someone in your life who inspires you. Is it their words that inspire you, or is it the way they live their life? The people we admire most are often those who act with integrity, kindness, and strength, even when it's not easy. So the question is, what kind of example are you setting with your actions? In our fast-paced modern world, we're often tempted to focus on immediate results and quick wins. But the Stoics remind us that real change and growth happen slowly over time, through consistent action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that obstacles are not roadblocks. They are opportunities to practice resilience and to move forward. Every challenge you face is a chance to demonstrate your character and improve yourself. Are you using those opportunities to grow, or are you letting them hold you back? The beauty of Stoicism is that it's a practical philosophy. It's not about grand theories or complex ideas. It's about applying simple principles in everyday life. It's about doing the right thing, even when it's hard, and not letting external circumstances dictate your behavior. You don't need to make dramatic changes to live a Stoic life. In fact, the most profound transformations often come from small, consistent actions. Whether it's practicing gratitude, showing patience, or making a difficult but necessary decision, every action you take contributes to the person you are becoming. So, what's one small action you can take today to live more in alignment with your values? The lesson is clear. Your actions define you more than your words ever will. You can talk about who you want to be, but until you start acting on it, you're just spinning your wheels. As the Stoics teach, life is too short to waste time on empty words. It's time to take control of your life and make your actions count. The world needs more people who live by example, who don't just talk about their principles, but embody them. So, what are you waiting for? Start living the life you've been talking about. Share in the comments one action you're going to take today to put your values into practice, and let's hold each other accountable as we strive to live with purpose and integrity. Lesson 4. Inner Wealth, the Stoic Case for Giving Back. While modern society often equates success with the accumulation of wealth, status, and power, the Stoics believe that real wealth is found within, through virtues such as generosity, kindness, and service to others. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." In other words, when you give back to others, you enrich not only their lives, but also your own. The pursuit of inner wealth, as the Stoics taught, is the key to a meaningful, fulfilling life. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to become consumed by the desire for material success. We're bombarded by messages that tell us we need more money, a bigger house, a better car, all the external markers of wealth. But let's pause for a moment and ask ourselves, are these things really making us happy? The Stoics would argue that they aren't. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This is a powerful reminder that no matter how much we accumulate, true contentment comes from within, from the virtues we cultivate and the ways in which we give back to the world around us. So what does it mean to cultivate inner wealth? For the Stoics, it's about living in alignment with virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's about using the resources you have, whether they are time, skills, or material wealth, to make a positive impact on others. This idea is incredibly relevant today, especially for men aged 30 to 65, who are often at a stage in life where they've achieved a certain level of success, but might be asking themselves, what's next? How can I give my life more meaning? The Stoic answer is simple. Start giving back. It's not just about writing checks to charity or donating your old clothes, though those are valuable acts. It's about being present, offering your time and attention to those who need it, mentoring someone who could benefit from your experience, or simply being kind in your daily interactions. These actions, small as they may seem, are the true expressions of inner wealth. One of the most important lessons the Stoics teach us is that giving back doesn't just benefit others, it transforms us as well. When we focus on contributing to the greater good, we stop being so concerned with our own problems, our own worries, and our own desires. This shift in focus helps us cultivate a sense of perspective, resilience, and gratitude. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By choosing to think about how we can serve others, we elevate our thoughts and in turn elevate our own experience of life. This isn't just a feel-good sentiment, it's a practical approach to living a life of purpose and fulfillment. When you stop focusing on what you can get and start thinking about what you can give, you tap into a source of happiness that external achievements and material wealth simply can't provide. Think about it. Have you ever done something kind for someone, whether it was lending a hand to a friend, volunteering your time, or offering a word of encouragement? How did it make you feel? Chances are it gave you a sense of satisfaction that money or material success never could. The Stoics understood this deeply, which is why they placed so much emphasis on giving back. Musonius Rufus, another influential Stoic, once said, "To help others by doing good not only benefits them, but also ourselves." When you live in a way that benefits others, you're enriching your own life in ways that far surpass anything you could gain from selfish pursuits. In our modern world, where individualism is often celebrated, the idea of giving back might seem old-fashioned or even counterintuitive, but it's more relevant now than ever. We live in a time where loneliness, anxiety, and depression are on the rise, despite the fact that many of us are more materially successful than ever before. What's missing? The Stoics would argue that it's the sense of connection and purpose that comes from living for something greater than ourselves. What if the key to your happiness and fulfillment lies not in what you achieve, but in what you give? This is the challenge the Stoics present to us, to stop measuring success by the size of our bank accounts and start measuring it by the size of our impact on others. Giving back doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It can be as simple as listening to someone who needs to talk, offering advice to a colleague, or helping a neighbor with a small task. These moments of generosity and connection are what the Stoics considered true wealth. They believed that the more you give, the richer you become, not in terms of money or possessions, but in terms of character and fulfillment. As you go through your day, think about how you can give back. What small act of kindness can you perform today that will make someone else's life better? This shift in perspective, from focusing on what you can get to focusing on what you can give, can transform your life in profound ways. The Stoic case for giving back is simple. True wealth comes from within. It's not about how much you accumulate, but how much you contribute to the world around you. When you focus on giving, you'll find that life becomes more meaningful, more fulfilling, and more joyful. And in doing so, you'll discover that the most valuable thing you can offer isn't something external. It's the goodness and virtue that you cultivate within yourself. So, let me ask you, what will you do today to give back? Will you offer your time, your kindness, or your expertise to someone in need? The choice is yours, and as the Stoics remind us, it's the most important choice you can make. Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we move on, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to you. Being part of this community with you is truly a pleasure. Feel free to share your thoughts or personal experiences in the comments. If you're new, just leave a comment saying I am a newbie, and if you've been with us for a while, comment I am Stoic. Your engagement means a lot and motivates us to keep delivering content that matters. Let's keep growing together, shall we? Let's keep growing. Lesson 5. Mental Fitness, a Stoic plan for strengthening the mind. In our modern world, we often focus so much on physical fitness, career success, and external achievements that we forget the importance of training the mind. But the Stoics understood that the mind is our greatest asset, and the strength we develop within is what helps us face life's inevitable challenges. Mental fitness isn't just about knowledge or intelligence. It's about cultivating resilience, clarity, and control over our emotions. It's about being able to navigate difficult situations with calmness and purpose, no matter what life throws at you. As Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it, that matters." Your response to life's ups and downs determines the quality of your life. And that's why strengthening the mind is essential for anyone seeking personal growth and fulfillment. To build mental fitness, the Stoics believed in practicing mindfulness and self-awareness daily. This means paying close attention to your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded by distractions, social media, work pressures, and endless to-do lists that make it easy to lose track of what's truly important. However, by practicing mindfulness, you learn to focus on the present moment, to separate yourself from the noise, and to regain control over your mind. Let me ask you, when was the last time you stopped to reflect on your own thoughts? The Stoics encourage us to step back and ask, are my thoughts serving me? Or am I being carried away by worries and anxieties that don't matter in the grand scheme of things? Mental fitness requires you to check in with yourself regularly and decide whether your mind is helping or hindering your progress. A great modern example of mental fitness can be seen in high-performance athletes. Take professional tennis players, for example. While their physical training is crucial, their mental preparation often makes the difference between winning and losing. Imagine standing on the court with the whole world watching, the pressure mounting, and the outcome uncertain. It's not just their physical ability that helps them perform under pressure. It's their mental toughness, their ability to stay focused and calm even when the stakes are high. They've trained their minds to handle stress, to push through fear and doubt, and to stay locked into the present moment. This is mental fitness in action. And just like these athletes, you can train your mind to stay calm and collected when facing challenges in your own life. The ability to maintain composure and focus, no matter how stressful or chaotic the situation, is a skill that will serve you in every area of your life. One of the key elements of mental fitness is the practice of self-discipline. The Stoics believed that without discipline, we cannot hope to control our thoughts or actions. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare that they are difficult." How many times have you avoided taking action because the task seemed too overwhelming or difficult? The truth is, once you start to discipline your mind, you begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Whether it's sticking to a morning routine, committing to daily exercise, or practicing gratitude, self-discipline helps you strengthen your mental muscles over time. It's these small, consistent actions that build mental toughness and resilience. So let me ask you, what small change can you commit to today that will help you develop more mental discipline? The Stoics also emphasize the importance of controlling your emotions, especially when faced with adversity. In today's society, we often hear people talk about emotional intelligence, but the Stoics had been teaching this concept for centuries. They believed that our emotions are powerful forces that can either guide us or mislead us, depending on how well we manage them. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You cannot control every situation in life, but you can control how you react emotionally. When you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety, ask yourself, is this emotion helping me or hurting me? The more you practice controlling your emotional responses, the more mentally fit you become. It's not about suppressing your emotions, but about understanding them, acknowledging them, and then choosing how to act based on reason rather than impulse. Mental fitness also requires a strong sense of purpose. The Stoics believe that knowing your purpose, your why, is what drives you forward even in difficult times. When you have a clear sense of purpose, setbacks don't feel as overwhelming because you know what you're working toward. Think of people like firefighters or doctors, whose work involves constant exposure to stress and difficult situations. They don't just go through the motions. They have a deep sense of purpose that motivates them to keep going, no matter how challenging the job. The same is true for all of us. When you know why you're doing what you're doing, you can endure much more than you think. So take a moment to reflect. What is your purpose? What drives you to get out of bed every morning? When you align your actions with your purpose, mental fitness becomes much easier to maintain. At the heart of mental fitness is the ability to focus on what you can control. This is one of the most important lessons from Stoicism. Epictetus often reminded his students that there are things within our control and things outside of our control. Too often, we waste mental energy worrying about things that we can't change. The Stoics teach us to focus only on what's within our power, our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. By doing this, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and anxiety. Think about the last time you were stressed out. Were you focusing on something beyond your control? What if instead you had focused on the actions you could take in that moment? This shift in mindset is one of the most powerful tools for building mental resilience. Mental fitness, just like physical fitness, requires regular training and effort. The Stoics provided a timeless guide for strengthening the mind through mindfulness, self-discipline, emotional control, and a clear sense of purpose. As you go through your day, remember that you have the power to train your mind to handle life's challenges with grace and resilience. Start small, be consistent, and focus on what you can control. As Seneca wisely said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. The more you train your mind, the more prepared you will be for whatever life throws your way. So, what's your next step? How will you strengthen your mind today? Lesson 6. Fulfillment through action. The Stoic Key to Happiness. The Stoics understood something that many of us struggle with today. Happiness isn't something we passively wait for or stumble upon by chance. It's something we create through deliberate action and choices. In a world where we often hear that happiness comes from achieving external success, the Stoics took a radically different approach. They believed that true fulfillment comes from living in accordance with your values, taking purposeful action, and focusing on the things you can control. The question is, are you waiting for happiness to come to you, or are you actively building it with every choice you make? The path to happiness, according to Stoic philosophy, is found in doing, not in hoping for better circumstances. And that's what we're going to explore next. Let's break it down. How often do we tell ourselves, I'll be happy when... Maybe you're waiting for a promotion, a relationship, or some other milestone to finally feel fulfilled. But the Stoics knew that this mindset leads to an endless cycle of disappointment because no external achievement can bring lasting happiness. As Seneca put it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. You have the power right now to start living a life of purpose and fulfillment by aligning your actions with your values. This isn't just theoretical, this is the real, practical key to happiness. What are you doing today to live according to your principles? Are you taking action, or are you just talking about the life you want to live? When you focus on taking action rather than waiting for happiness, you shift your mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In other words, your happiness is not dictated by external events but by how you choose to respond to them. The Stoics didn't just sit around pondering philosophical ideas, they were men of action, people who believed that the way you live your life, every single day, is what determines your happiness. How often do you reflect on your actions? Are they in line with the person you want to be? Or are you letting procrastination and distractions hold you back from reaching your full potential? This is where the Stoic idea of taking action becomes so vital. Happiness is built one step at a time, one intentional action at a time. In today's fast-paced world, we're constantly told that happiness is just around the corner if we can only achieve certain goals, whether it's career success, financial stability, or personal relationships. But here's the truth. Even when you reach those milestones, if you haven't learned how to take purposeful action and live according to your principles, you'll find yourself still searching for happiness. The Stoics knew that external success is fleeting and that real fulfillment comes from within, from knowing you're living in a way that aligns with your deepest values. Ask yourself, what do I truly value? And how can I make sure that my actions reflect those values today? The more your actions reflect your values, the more fulfilled and happy you'll feel. Not because of what you've achieved, but because of how you've chosen to live. One powerful example of this in modern life can be seen in the world of entrepreneurship. Many successful entrepreneurs will tell you that they found fulfillment not in the money they made, but in the process of building something meaningful. They took action, faced challenges, and stayed committed to their values. The same principle applies to all of us, regardless of our profession or life circumstances. It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity or the right moment. It's about taking action now. As Epictetus wisely said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The Stoics challenge us to stop thinking and start doing, to live every day as if it matters, because it does. Another key to fulfillment through action is recognizing that setbacks and challenges are not obstacles to happiness, but essential parts of it. The Stoics believed that adversity is a teacher, not a punishment. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow stronger and more resilient. Think about a time when you faced a difficult situation. Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted or a relationship ended. How did you respond? Did you let it derail your happiness, or did you use it as fuel to take even more deliberate action toward your goals? The Stoics remind us that happiness isn't about avoiding hardship, but about using it to propel us forward. As we dive deeper into this idea of fulfillment through action, it's important to address a common misconception: that happiness is the result of achieving a final goal or reaching a specific destination. The Stoics would argue that happiness is found in the journey itself. It's not about waiting for some future moment when everything will be perfect. It's about taking action now, even when things are difficult or uncertain. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This reminds us that the more we take action, the more prepared we are to seize the opportunities that come our way. The path to happiness is not a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and challenges. But every step you take, every action you choose, brings you closer to a life of true fulfillment. So how do you start taking action in a way that leads to fulfillment? It begins with small, consistent steps. You don't need to overhaul your entire life in one day. Start by identifying one area of your life where you can begin to act with more intention. Maybe it's your health, your relationships, or your career. Then, commit to taking one small action today that aligns with your values. Over time, these small actions will build up, creating momentum and leading you toward a life of greater happiness and purpose. And remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The power to change your life and find fulfillment is in your hands, not in the hands of others or in external circumstances. The Stoic key to happiness is simple but profound. Take action. Stop waiting for happiness to find you. Stop thinking that something outside of you will bring you the fulfillment you seek. Instead, focus on living a life of purpose, taking deliberate action every day and embracing the challenges that come your way. Ask yourself, what action can I take today that will move me closer to the life I want to live? Remember, happiness is not something you wait for, it's something you create. So go out there, start doing, and build the life you've always wanted. Lesson 7. Mastering Desire. The Stoic Approach to Staying Cool. Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. Epictetus. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by messages telling us that happiness and success come from accumulating more, whether it's wealth, status, or pleasure, the Stoics offer a radically different perspective. They believed that true freedom and peace of mind come not from indulging every desire, but from mastering it. As men navigating today's fast-paced, consumer-driven world, it's easy to get caught up in the cycle of wanting more money, more recognition, more possessions. But how often do we stop to ask ourselves, are these desires controlling us, or are we in control of them? The Stoics understood that unchecked desires lead to anxiety, frustration, and dissatisfaction, but by mastering them, we can achieve a deeper sense of fulfillment and inner peace. To truly grasp the Stoic approach to desire, we must first understand the nature of desire itself. Desire, at its core, is the mind's way of reaching for something external, believing that acquiring it will make us happier or more complete. However, the Stoics, particularly Epictetus, warned against this mindset. He reminded us that external things, whether they are material possessions or fleeting pleasures, are outside of our control. And as the Stoics famously taught, trying to control what is beyond our reach only leads to suffering. Instead, the key to staying calm and composed, even in the face of life's temptations, is learning to control our reactions to these desires. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This realization is where true mastery begins. In modern life, we face desires on a daily basis, whether it's the allure of social media, the pressure to climb the corporate ladder, or the constant push to buy more, do more, and achieve more. While ambition and success aren't inherently bad, the Stoics encourage us to ask ourselves whether these pursuits align with our true values, or if we are simply chasing desires out of habit or societal pressure. Take a moment to think about the last time you felt anxious or frustrated. Was it because you didn't get something you desired, or because you feared losing something you already had? The Stoics teach us that this kind of emotional turmoil comes from placing our happiness in external things, rather than cultivating a sense of contentment from within. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." By reducing our dependence on external desires, we can free ourselves from this constant cycle of craving and disappointment. One powerful metaphor the Stoics often use to describe desire is the chase. When we're chasing something, whether it's a promotion, a new car, or someone's approval, we expend a lot of energy running toward it, often without stopping to consider whether it's even worth the pursuit. And like any chase, it can leave us exhausted, frustrated, and unfulfilled. In the end, even if we catch what we're chasing, the satisfaction is often temporary, and soon we find ourselves chasing something else. This cycle of desire is exactly what the Stoics sought to break. They knew that peace and fulfillment come not from constantly acquiring more, but from learning to be content with what we already have and focusing on the things we can control. This doesn't mean we should avoid ambition or goals, but rather that we should pursue them with detachment, understanding that our happiness doesn't depend on their outcome. A great modern example of mastering desire can be seen in the world of professional athletes. The most successful athletes often talk about focusing not on winning every game or achieving every milestone, but on mastering their craft and staying present in the moment. They have desires, of course. They want to win. They want to succeed. But they know that if they become consumed by these desires, it will lead to stress, overthinking, and ultimately poor performance. Instead, they focus on what they can control: their training, their mindset, and their effort. By doing this, they stay cool under pressure and often achieve great success as a result. This is exactly what the Stoics teach us about life. Focus on mastering yourself, not the outcome of your desires. In our daily lives, one of the most practical ways to apply the Stoic approach to desire is to practice gratitude. When we focus on what we already have, rather than what we lack, we start to shift our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. As Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This simple but profound shift can dramatically reduce the power that desire has over us. Instead of constantly striving for more, we can learn to appreciate the present moment and find contentment in the here and now. And in doing so, we free ourselves from the anxiety and restlessness that often accompany unchecked desire. Another key component of mastering desire is understanding the difference between needs and wants. The Stoics encouraged us to focus on our basic needs: food, shelter, meaningful relationships, and to view our wants as optional luxuries that we can live without. This doesn't mean you have to give up everything you enjoy, but it does mean recognizing that your happiness doesn't depend on acquiring more of these wants. By simplifying your life and focusing on what truly matters, you can find a sense of inner peace that no amount of external success can provide. Seneca put it best when he said, "The greatest wealth is to live content with little." So, how do we begin to master our desires in a world that constantly pushes us to want more? Start by paying attention to your emotional responses. The next time you feel frustrated or anxious, ask yourself, what desire is at the root of this feeling? Is it a desire for something outside of your control? By identifying the source of your frustration, you can begin to let go of the need to control external outcomes and focus instead on controlling your own thoughts and reactions. Over time, this practice will help you cultivate a sense of inner calm and resilience, no matter what life throws your way. If you've made it this far, you're truly ready to take action. Drop a comment saying, "I am taking action," to show you're committed to making a real change in your life. Stay tuned. This journey is just beginning. Lesson 8. Handling Praise and Criticism, a Stoic Guide to Balance. In our daily lives, we are constantly subjected to the opinions of others, whether it's compliments or critiques. It's easy to let praise lift us up or criticism tear us down, but the Stoics teach us to find balance in how we respond to these external judgments. We often fall into the trap of letting others' opinions dictate our self-worth. But what would happen if we began to focus more on our own principles and less on the fleeting opinions of others? Are we living our lives based on our values, or are we shaped by how we're perceived by those around us? The Stoics believed that true strength lies in detaching ourselves from praise and blame alike and instead seeking validation from within. One of the key ideas in Stoic philosophy is that you cannot control how others perceive you. Whether people praise you or criticize you, it says more about their perspective than it does about your character. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This insight points to a paradox we often fall into. We value our own opinions yet allow others' thoughts to have a greater influence on our emotions and actions. But why should we be swayed by praise when it is just an outside reflection of someone's subjective view? And why should criticism cut so deep when it's not necessarily grounded in truth? When you realize that you can't control what others think of you, a weight is lifted, and you're free to focus on what truly matters: your integrity, your actions, and your personal growth. In modern life, we're bombarded by opinions constantly, through social media, workplace feedback, and even our personal relationships. It's natural to want approval and to fear disapproval, but the Stoic approach helps us see that both praise and criticism are temporary and ultimately irrelevant to our inner self. Think about the last time you received a compliment. How long did that positive feeling last, and when was the last time you were criticized? Did it linger longer than you would have liked? The Stoics teach us that neither praise nor criticism should shake us because they are beyond our control. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This idea applies to praise too. Constantly craving validation from others only leaves you vulnerable to their judgments, making you dependent on external approval for your happiness. A great example of handling praise and criticism in modern life can be found in the world of public figures, particularly athletes or performers. When they succeed, they're often showered with praise, but when they fail, the criticism can be harsh and unrelenting. Yet, the most successful individuals are those who stay focused on their craft rather than the opinions of others. Take a professional athlete, for instance. After a game, they might be praised for their performance, but that praise doesn't mean much if it distracts them from preparing for the next challenge. Likewise, criticism from a poor performance can't be allowed to consume them if they want to improve. They understand that neither praise nor criticism should define them. Their value comes from the effort they put into their work, not the fleeting opinions of fans or critics. This is exactly what the Stoics taught. Focus on your efforts and values, not on the feedback you receive. One important aspect of mastering the Stoic balance between praise and criticism is learning to take feedback without letting it affect your self-worth. When you're praised, instead of letting it inflate your ego, use it as an opportunity for reflection. Did you truly earn that praise through hard work and dedication, or was it given lightly? The same goes for criticism. Rather than taking it personally, evaluate it objectively. Is there truth to it? Can you learn something from it? Or is it simply a reflection of someone else's misunderstanding or bias? Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it, that matters." This applies not just to life's challenges, but also to how you react to praise and criticism. You have the power to choose how you respond, and in doing so, you take control over your emotions and your sense of self. To practice this in your own life, start by asking yourself, how much weight do I give to others' opinions of me? Are you swayed by the praise you receive, allowing it to determine your confidence? Do you let criticism make you feel inadequate? Recognize that both are fleeting and not a reflection of your true self. Instead, focus on how you live your life according to your values. A practical step you can take is to keep a journal where you reflect on your actions rather than the feedback you receive. Each day, ask yourself, did I live today in a way that aligns with my principles? By making this your measure of success, you begin to detach from the opinions of others and focus on your own personal growth. The Stoics believed that true peace comes from within, not from the praise or criticism of others, but from knowing that you are living authentically. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "People exist for one another. You can instruct them, or you can endure them." This reminds us that we can't change what others think or say, but we can decide how much value we place on their words. Whether you are praised or criticized, the only judgment that truly matters is your own. So, the next time you receive feedback, positive or negative, ask yourself, am I allowing this to affect my self-worth, or am I staying grounded in who I am and what I stand for? By embracing the Stoic approach to balance, you can navigate life's inevitable praise and criticism without being thrown off course. You'll find that your sense of self becomes stronger, your confidence becomes more stable, and your actions are driven by your values, not by the opinions of others. Remember, the Stoic path is one of inner strength and resilience, where you are the one in control of how you react to the world around you. So, take a deep breath, stay true to your principles, and let neither praise nor criticism sway you from your path. Lesson 9. The Procrastination Problem. Stoic Solutions for Taking Action. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Seneca. Procrastination is something that plagues all of us at some point. Whether it's putting off a difficult task, delaying a decision, or telling ourselves, "I'll start tomorrow." The habit of postponing action is one of the greatest barriers to personal growth and success. We often justify our procrastination by saying we're waiting for the right time, or that we're not ready yet. But the Stoics teach us a hard truth. There is no perfect moment to start. The right time is always now. Procrastination isn't just about laziness or lack of motivation. It's a deeper issue of prioritizing comfort over progress. And if we're honest with ourselves, how often do we let comfort dictate our actions, even when we know taking action will lead to the results we want? So, the question we should be asking is, how can we stop delaying and start acting today? The Stoic philosophy provides a powerful framework for overcoming procrastination. First, the Stoics teach us to understand the impermanence of time. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." The idea here is not to scare you, but to awaken you to the reality that time is fleeting, and none of us knows how much of it we have left. When you fully internalize this, it becomes much harder to justify putting things off. Every moment you spend delaying is a moment you could have used to make progress, to grow, or to move closer to your goals. By realizing the preciousness of time, we start to see procrastination for what it truly is, an obstacle that robs us of opportunities. So ask yourself, what are you delaying right now that, if you started today, could significantly improve your life? The next Stoic insight for battling procrastination is to focus on what is within your control. Procrastination often stems from the fear of failure or the unknown. We delay taking action because we're uncertain about the outcome or because the task seems overwhelming. Epictetus taught us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, while you can't control every aspect of the situation, you can control how you respond to it. Instead of waiting for everything to align perfectly, the Stoics encourage us to focus on what we can do right now. Even small actions can break the cycle of procrastination. When we focus on what's in our power, our thoughts, decisions, and actions, we free ourselves from the paralyzing fear that often comes with uncertainty. By taking one small step today, you can create momentum that propels you forward. What small action can you take right now to move in the direction of your goals? Another key Stoic principle is the idea of practicing self-discipline. Seneca emphasized that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Too often, we think success comes from chance or waiting for the right opportunity to come along. But the Stoics knew that luck is simply the result of consistently showing up and putting in the work. When you discipline yourself to take action, even when you don't feel like it, you begin to see results. The Stoics believed that self-discipline is a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. Start by committing to small, manageable goals each day and build from there. Procrastination loses its grip when we develop the habit of taking action, no matter how we feel in the moment. So, the next time you're tempted to delay, remember that taking action today is building the discipline you'll need for tomorrow's challenges. Procrastination also has a lot to do with how we perceive challenges. Often, we put things off because a task feels too big or too difficult. But the Stoics teach us that challenges are not barriers. They are opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the very obstacles you face are part of the path to success. When you shift your mindset from seeing challenges as things to avoid to seeing them as opportunities to learn and grow, procrastination loses its power. Instead of fearing the task at hand, embrace it. See it as a chance to improve yourself. Each difficult task you face is an opportunity to become stronger, smarter, and more resilient. So, what challenge are you avoiding, and how can you turn it into a stepping stone rather than a roadblock? In our modern world, distractions are one of the biggest drivers of procrastination. From social media to constant notifications, it's easy to get caught up in things that feel urgent but aren't truly important. The Stoics would advise us to practice mindfulness and intentionality. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This means being clear about your priorities and staying focused on what really matters. When you're clear about your goals and values, it becomes easier to eliminate distractions and focus on the task at hand. Create a routine that minimizes distractions and maximizes productivity. Whether it's turning off your phone for a set period or scheduling blocks of time for focused work, intentional actions lead to results. By practicing mindfulness and purpose, you can stop procrastination in its tracks and start moving forward. Finally, the Stoics remind us that perfection is an illusion. One of the reasons we procrastinate is because we fear we won't do something perfectly. We tell ourselves that we're not ready, or that we need more time to prepare. But the Stoics knew that perfectionism is just another form of procrastination. Seneca said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." This means that waiting for the perfect moment or perfect conditions is pointless. There will never be a perfect time to start. Instead, take action now and adjust along the way. Progress is more important than perfection. It's better to start imperfectly than to never start at all. So, what are you waiting for? The perfect moment doesn't exist, but the opportunity to take action is always available. The Stoics offer timeless wisdom for overcoming procrastination. By recognizing the value of time, focusing on what's in our control, practicing self-discipline, embracing challenges, eliminating distractions, and rejecting perfectionism, we can break free from the habit of delaying and start taking meaningful action today. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The power to take action is within your control. So, what are you going to do today to stop procrastinating and move closer to the life you want? The time to act is now. M2. Lesson 10. The Ripple Effect. How Stoic Actions Inspire Change. The Stoics believed deeply in the impact that one person's actions can have on the world. And this is something we often forget in our modern lives. We live in a society where we're constantly told that change is only possible through grand gestures, large-scale movements, or positions of power. But Stoicism teaches us the opposite. True change starts with the individual, with small, deliberate actions that align with your values. When you take control of your life, lead by example, and act in accordance with your principles, you set off a ripple effect that influences others more than you might realize. The question is, are you living in a way that inspires positive change in those around you? Or are you waiting for someone else to lead the way? The Stoic philosophy revolves around personal responsibility and integrity. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This means taking ownership of your own life and realizing that every action you take matters. When you make the conscious choice to live in alignment with Stoic virtues such as wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, you don't just improve yourself, you become a model for others to follow. The ripple effect occurs when the people around you witness your consistency, your ability to handle challenges with grace, and your dedication to living a life of purpose. It's not about preaching or trying to change others directly. It's about showing through your actions what it means to live well. Think about a time when someone else's behavior inspired you. Was it because they told you what to do? Or because you saw the way they lived and wanted to emulate it? This ripple effect is especially important in today's world, where we are often tempted to rely on external validation or the approval of others to guide our actions. But the Stoics remind us that true leadership comes from within. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful emperors in history, wrote extensively in his Meditations about the importance of leading by example, not through force or authority, but through the quiet strength of character. Waste no more time on what others think of you. It is none of your concern. He knew that real influence doesn't come from trying to control others, but from controlling yourself. And when you master yourself, you inspire others to do the same. How often do we find ourselves worrying about what others think, rather than focusing on becoming the best version of ourselves? The ripple effect starts when you stop trying to manage others and start managing your own thoughts, actions, and choices. In modern life, it's easy to feel like your actions don't matter in the grand scheme of things. But the truth is, every action you take creates a ripple that extends beyond you. Think about how contagious positive behavior can be. When you hold yourself to high standards, whether in your work, your relationships, or even how you treat strangers, you set a tone for those around you. Consider the simple act of kindness in a stressful situation, helping a colleague who's overwhelmed or offering a patient ear to a friend in need. Those small actions create a ripple effect that can lead to greater compassion, understanding, and cooperation. And it works in reverse too. Negative actions can create negative ripples. Are your daily actions contributing positively to the lives of others, or are you unconsciously adding to the negativity? The Stoics teach us to be mindful of this ripple effect, to ensure that what we send out into the world aligns with our highest values. A great modern example of the ripple effect can be found in leadership, whether in business, family, or personal relationships. The most effective leaders are not those who simply command respect, but those who earn it through their actions. When you see a leader who is calm under pressure, fair in their decisions, and consistent in their principles, you are more likely to respect and follow them. This is the ripple effect in action. It's about showing, not telling. When you embody the Stoic virtues of self-discipline, courage, and justice, You inspire those around you to do the same. People notice integrity, and it motivates them to reflect on their own behavior. What kind of example are you setting for those around you? Are you living in a way that encourages others to be better? Or are you caught up in the same distractions and habits that you want to avoid? The ripple effect also extends to how we handle challenges. Life is full of difficulties, but the way we respond to them sets the tone for how others will respond. As Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. When you face adversity with resilience and patience, you not only grow as a person, but you also inspire others to face their challenges with the same mindset. It's not about being perfect or never failing. It's about showing that you can rise after a fall, that you can stay focused on what matters even when the world around you is chaotic. People are watching how you handle stress, disappointment, and setbacks, and your response can either create a positive ripple effect or contribute to a cycle of negativity. The Stoics remind us that the true test of character is not in how we act when things are going well, but in how we act when things are difficult. Are you facing your challenges in a way that inspires others to be strong? Or are you letting your circumstances dictate your actions? At its core, the ripple effect is about understanding that your actions have a broader impact than you might realize. You may think that what you do in your private life doesn't matter to anyone else, but the truth is, your behavior influences more people than you know. Whether it's how you treat a stranger, how you manage your responsibilities at work, or how you show up for your family, your actions send ripples through the lives of others. The Stoics encourage us to be mindful of this power, to recognize that we have the ability to inspire positive change simply by living according to our principles. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Your life is your message, and the way you live it can either contribute to the good of the world or detract from it. What message are you sending through your actions today? The Stoic ripple effect reminds us that true change starts with the individual. By focusing on living a life of integrity, courage, and wisdom, you create ripples that inspire those around you to do the same. It's not about grand gestures or trying to control others. It's about mastering yourself and letting your actions speak for themselves. So the next time you wonder whether your choices matter, remember that every action creates a ripple. The question is, what kind of ripple are you sending out into the world? The time to start living intentionally, to inspire positive change through your actions, is now. Lead by example, stay true to your principles, and let the ripple effect of your actions create a legacy of goodness, strength, and wisdom. As we come to the end of today's video, remember that Stoicism is all about taking action. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, and Musonius Rufus all emphasize the importance of moving from thought to deed. The time to act is now. Don't wait for the perfect moment and don't get stuck in endless thinking. Take control of your life by taking action. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs this message, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's continue this journey of growth and action together. Until next time, remember, take action now.